County. I'm an employee of Clatsop Community Action, CCA. And just to kind of give you a brief overview as to what I do, I am here in place in the county to help veterans and surviving family members get their benefits. That is what I do. I represent veterans in their appeal process if they've been denied benefits. And then I also concentrate on community outreach and rural veteran suicide prevention. I'm part of a multi-county coalition called Together with Veterans Rural Suicide Prevention. And it is a county coalition made up of folks from Columbia County, Clatsop County, and Tillamook County. And we all focus on different ways in which we can prevent veterans from falling through the cracks and making sure that they get everything that they need to benefit from these benefits and to thrive in our communities. I am passionate about veteran-owned businesses as well. I've always felt that, if there is, if you can't figure out a way to support veterans in your community, a really good way is to be a customer in a veteran-owned business. I really think because you quite literally are putting food in bellies and putting shoes on feet, roofs over heads. So I honestly think that's a great thing. I am co-located all over the county. I keep myself very, very busy. So after I get done here, I will be headed out to the American Legion in Seaside, where I will lock in hours on Tuesdays. Wednesdays, I am here floating around Astoria, typically up at the Community College and Student Services Center, building 1717. The Bandit Burrow is where my office is. You can find me up there on Fridays as well. The last Wednesday of every month, I'm at the Lower Columbia Q Center. I hold open lock-in hours. I've been doing discharge upgrade clinics for veterans that were discharged under Don't Ask, Don't Tell, or kicked out of the military for being gay. So it's been the outreach and the things that I've been able to accomplish in just the last year have been immensely amazing. I got here in June of 2021 and hit the ground running, and the community has been welcoming and fantastic. I'm not going anywhere. I look at being here for a long time, and I look forward to engaging with you folks in the future and figuring out ways to help veterans and connect with each other. Thank you very, very much.
Really appreciate you being here and helping our community like you are. Our second speaker today is going to be Meg Leatherman of the city of Astoria. So Meg, if you want to come on up here and tell folks about what you have going on.
Thank you. Hi, I had an opportunity to meet a lot of you, but I'm looking forward to meet the rest of you. It's good to see you all. I just asked to stop by and appreciate it, thank you, Chamber, to let everyone know about a recent effort that the city has kicked off in community development. I think most of you know that I oversee planning, which is kind of land use aspect of land development and also building permits. And so we're also an arm of the state, and the state has asked us, directed us to address the housing crisis. And one way that they've done that is to adopt a bill that requires the city to expand the opportunities for housing throughout the city. So what they call that is middle housing, and which is a wide variety of mixed uses wide variety of intensity from duplexes all the way to eightplexes and such. We were able to choose one of those, to add to our uses, but we're just doing duplexes at this point. So right now we're taking forward a code amendment that's going to allow basically duplexes in every zone that single-family homes are allowed. And we're also at the same time incorporating the housing strategies that the housing strategy study that the county adopted in 2019. And we have, basically, we're doing these traveling presentations now. And we also have 4 listening sessions in which we're asking the community to come and give us their thoughts on how we could implement that county housing study, because there is a little bit of flexibility in how we do that. With one thing that we're not addressing with increasing density throughout the different zones is heights, for example. So we're asking the community members to come to these meetings and let us know what they think about the development standards that we should be changing in our development code. And we have those coming up in May 4th and May 14th. And we also have our website that you can go and put comments on if you would like. it's really detailed, and I didn't have time to present, or I have time, but I asked them to fit us in because we have a really tight deadline on getting our code amendment through. We have to get that through by the end of the calendar year. And so I had asked them to, the chamber, if I could come and just let you know that we're looking for your input and thoughts and participation in crafting this code amendment. And if you want to go to our website, you can provide those comments and get more information about all the different state bills that they're have adopted and that we're trying to implement through our development code. And yeah,
Is this a population change?
yeah. So
Maybe explain that a little bit.
yeah, one thing that the state has recently realized is recently adopted is the fact that we're triggered the 10,000 population, over 10,000, and because of that, it requires a lot of different requirements the city does, and one of them is addressing housing and adding different middle housing ranges throughout the different zones. And this time, we're just choosing duplexes, but the second time when we go back through and do our buildable lands inventory update and address our housing needs, we will come back and maybe address more of those, add more of those to the mix. Basically, we're reviewing our development code, and we're just looking for you guys to input to how we can make it easier besides just processes, but also our development code and how we can reduce the development standards to make more opportunities for housing to occur throughout the city. So we created a website or created a page through community development. If you go to our website, you can go on there and you can read the different House bills that we're trying to address and provide comment. There's a link there for comment as well. What else did I want to touch on? I think one thing that's going to be coming, I guess right now, I don't think maybe it's critical for everyone to be as involved, because I don't see as many of the changes that we're going to be proposing or required to change impacting us so directly. There will be, obviously in some cases, it will be a pretty direct impact, but the next set of requirements that the state has mandated for us is to update our buildable lands inventory and do a housing needs analysis and compare those to identify where we maybe can do some really specific changes for zones or height, density, and et cetera. That requirement is going to be for 2024. So this next year is really just adding duplexes as an allowed use in every zone that a single family is allowed outright, if that makes sense. It's kind of technical, but I think we're really going to need a lot of your input for the next round. So I'm kind of dividing it up into two phases where we have the duplex change mainly in the county housing study that we're implementing, and then the second one will be the buildable lands inventory and the housing needs analysis by 2024. Yeah, so if you guys want to, I think it would be really helpful if you go and give your input or stop by and chat with me on first floor City Hall. And I just really appreciate your time and your input on that, because I know that we can't make an effective code without people who are using its input, so I'd appreciate it if you could.
We have one more 5-minute mic speaker. We have Commissioner Jim Campbell here speaking on behalf of the Board of Astoria. So if you want to.
No, I didn't have anything.
Okay, Will said you were going to speak, so it's all good. We'll save 5 minutes today and have you guys come back and tell us what's going on at the port soon. So before we get started with our main presentation, we do have a couple raffle prizes to give away. First one is a bag of coffee from Columbia River Coffee Roasters. It is organic Mexican chypris, which is organically grown in Mexico and southernmost part of the state. It's got some clean, subtle sweetness and nutty aroma. But mostly she wanted me to tell you that this isn't, they're doing a fundraiser for the Healing Circle Boca Camps, Victory Over Child Abuse. It's Child Abuse Awareness Month, so they're doing a fundraiser over there, so a portion of their proceeds. So head on out over there to Columbia River Coffee Roasters and buy some coffee today, but enjoy this one on us.
I want to make it clear this is no longer Chamber of Commerce weather. Last three digits are 264.
All right. And of course, I want to thank our coffee sponsors, TLC, Division of Fiber Federal Credit Union. So, our winner of the wonderful TLC basket is 286, Mr. Roger.
Okay. Our speaker today is Kevin Leahy of Clatsop Economic Development Resources. And Cedar is our economic driver here in Clatsop County. It is an organization that was created, what, 12 years ago now? 2008, so 14 years ago now. And it was, at that time, there were something like 30 entities in this county that were in some way involved in economic development. Some doing work, some not doing anything, and nobody really talking to each other. And so we all kind of got together and said, we need a central agency to handle this stuff, and it has been a brilliant decision. And our executive director of Cedar is Kevin Leahy, and Kevin has really not only turned the organization into exactly what we intended it to be, but during the last few years of the pandemic, Cedar has proven itself to be absolutely essential to our local economy. So Kevin will be here speaking today. He's also the director of the Small Business Development Center at Clatsop Community College, and also regional economist, Eric Knoder from Oregon Employment Department will be joining us by Zoom, correct? So without further ado, Kevin Leahy.
Thank you, David. Good morning, everybody. It's so great to see so many familiar faces and new faces here this morning. So like David said, Cedar was founded years ago, and I just want to give credit to a very special person to all of us. And the co-founder of Cedar was Skip Hockey. Skip Hockey and Al Smiles from the Seaside Chamber were the two individuals who co-founded Cedar. So it's a very special day to be here, presented on behalf of Cedar and our friendship with Skip and everybody here. So we'll go ahead and get started here. So again, Cedar, David mentioned that we're the overall economic development organization for Clatsop County, and we serve the 5 cities, the Port of Astoria, Clatsop Community College, Clatsop County, obviously. We're the one-stop for business, working with business in Oregon, with the municipalities, with the cities, the government, et cetera, et cetera. We have our Clatsop Community College Small Business Development Center. Jessica Newhall's here, our Associate Director, and David gave credit to Cedar for working through the pandemic, and of course, kudos to the SBDC, Jessica, and our entire team. It was amazing the work that they did. Many of you know that. I want to give credit to that. And also Clatsop Works. We have Missy Bateman. They're going to talk in a few minutes here as we get to their slide. Has recently joined us as our Clatsop Works internship coordinator. So we'll talk a little bit about that for those of you that are not aware of that. And again, Eric is on Zoom, so I'm going to cover the first part of the presentation. And then we have room, I hope, for Q&A at the end here. Any questions you all have here? So let's clicker going here. The right click, right? We will do the clicker here. Or we will not. Okay, thank you, Alan. Should I just nod? Okay, it had to warm up. Okay, perfect. So the first slide, what I'd like to cover today is this is an economic update for Clatsop County. And what this is, and it's kind of hard to see, by the way, but I'll kind of recap some of the high-level comments here as we're going through this. And Scott also said that this presentation that Eric and I pulled together, that's available for all chamber membership members and others, so we'll send this out afterwards. It's a 24-page slide deck here. So Clatsop County, just some quick facts here. We have over 41,000 folks that live here. And you look at the city populations on the right. I'm a native-born Astorian, so it's great to see my hometown get over 10,000 population again. That's a big, big deal. And of course, our fast-growing Warrenton. I mean, the whole county is fast-growing. Every city in the county is fast-growing here. If you look down in the middle at the bottom here, Clatsop County's population has grown by over 4,200 residents, 11.5% over the past 10 years. And on the coast, we're one of the fastest-growing counties in the state. And on the coast, we're the fastest growing in the state of Oregon here. Unemployment rate, this wonderful chart was done back in 2020. We all remember that very painful time, so I won't really focus on it because it was a high number. showing us at 9.6%, and right now we're south of 4% unemployment in Clatsop County. I know many of you employers realize that as you're trying to find folks to work for you and join your team here. And next we have the industry employment and the average wages. And kind of, you look here at leisure and hospitality, for example, is on the far left there. That is the top slide with 4,000 individuals with the average wage of $25,514. We know that the average wage is skewed by a lot of part-timers that work in that industry. But again, happy to drill down during the Q&A part or afterwards if you have any questions for myself or for Eric. This is his job as economic advisor here for the state of Oregon here. Trade, transportation, and utilities, 3374 in terms of the employment. And that includes our retail trade here, which is very, very important sector here in Clatsop County. And I'll just recap a couple of the other ones here. Government, and it's kind of like a Rubik's Cube here, by the way. I've been the director of Cedar for almost 11 years in the SBDC. And these government charts are really interesting and how things are put into different buckets. So I think I have kind of an understanding now, and I know that Eric does, and I'm happy to answer any questions. And I'll give you some examples here, some of the buckets that the state of Oregon puts in. But at the end of the day, the important thing here is to look at these industries and see how important they're. Government, for example, which is third, that of course is our government, but it also includes our K through 12 schools and Clatsop Community College under government. Education and health services, that is of course like CMH and our healthcare, and that's the private education side of things. So again, household income is to the right there, just the percentage breakdown, and the education attainment here in Clatsop County. We show here that we have a higher number in Clatsop County of associate's degree, go Clatsop Community College, yay, and a little bit lower on the bachelor side. So educational attainment, we provide a lot of great education here at Clatsop Community College, and we're working as we kind of continue to evolve the workforce for more education and opportunity there. Next is the city of Astoria. And the city of Warrenton, by the way, does not have a chart. I've asked about 10 times, but hopefully they'll be working on that in the next year or so. But city of Warrenton, the number of employer establishments by industry, you look at the far right bar there, it's the healthcare and social assistance. That's 105 employers. Accommodations and food services, that's like hotels and restaurants. You see the numbers there, retail, trade, other services. Okay, so here's an example. Other services except for public administration, it shows 48. That is churches. Okay, so here, ready? This is churches, it's automotive repair, and it's beauty shops. Who would have passed that one? Nobody. So anyway, and the chart breaks down here the percentages. You look at healthcare and so the social assistance, pie chart here, big part, accommodations, etc. And again, I want to talk about some of the specifics and not just talk about numbers and charts today. Here is the city of Astoria. This is payroll by industry. Healthcare and social assistance, look at that payroll, $90 million annually in that arena. Public administration, $30 million, accommodations and food services, etc. Then you look at the industries by average wage here, a wholesale trade, finance, etc., etc. So that's Astoria information. Again, you can have your own copy of this afterwards, and Scott will send that out. Hospitality is a huge industry and very important here for Clatsop County and for the state. This is a report that we get from, it's called Deep Runyon, and it shows visitor spending by type of accommodations. And again, it's kind of hard to read for those of you in the back of the room there, but it starts in 1992. I'm talking the top center graph there, 1992, and goes all the way to 2020. And you can see that the visitor spending by type of accommodation in 2019 was almost $600 million. This is on an annual basis. And then something called COVID hit, and it bounced down to a much lower number, obviously. But you look at, I know talking to like the city of Astoria, Canada Beach, Seaside, etc., and of course our businesses, this business has rebounded significantly. I know that we have a big issue with labor, of course, with our restaurants, etc., and our hotels. But this I'm sure in 2022 will be back to its normal trajectory, which is very, very positive. It's hard to get data from some industries. So again, I appreciate the opportunity to kind of share the importance of the different sectors. One of the beauties of Clatsop County's economy is we're very diverse. We're not reliant on like hospitality. Or we have our natural resource industry, we have hospitality, we have healthcare, we have our Coast Guard, we have government, etc. We have education. So this really, I've called this with the beautiful Columbia River here and with the beach, kind of our secret sauce here, with the river, with the port of Astoria, what that means to our local economy, as well as our tourism, etc. So the commercial, I'm going to start with commercial fishing, one of our very, very important natural resource industries. Has been here forever. That's how Astoria was founded, along with beaver fur traps. But the Oregon commercial fishing industry, I'll just kind of read this quickly here because it's hard to read. This is Oregon, but on the coast of Oregon, 96% of the commercial fishing happens on the coast. So there's apparently some farm-raised fish in eastern Oregon. We don't really talk about that today. Oregon's commercial fishing industry revenues jumped 29% to $206 million in 2021. Mostly thanks to a bumper Dungeness crab harvest. And by the way, I want to thank Eric Knoder, who's going to join us in a few minutes. He wrote this, and I just took the best parts of it. But again, we'll make sure that the link is out there that drills down much more detail here. But the best crab year since 2013, we all saw that. We also saw the season open on time, which was a huge, huge deal back in December. So total commercial fishing harvest averaged about 165 million in recent years. And so individual fisheries. The crab harvest in 2021 rose 22% to 24.3 million pounds. So the crab harvest is by far Oregon's most important commercial fishing product. And salmon landings rose 15% in 2021. The total landed value up to 6.5 million. And pink shrimp harvest, 47 million pounds in 2021. And the groundfish, which is very, very important. These are all sustainable fisheries. So important when you look at how different areas of the country, New England, etc., and the world are overfished. We have done an amazing job here with our different government agencies and partnerships in the private sector in having this amazing sustainable fishery that we can all enjoy here and also be employed in. So there was 1,227 commissioned fishers in Oregon, and there's 882 vessels that had a license to fish, and it was down, but this is an interesting number. They averaged $233,000 each in landed value per ship, per boat, per fishing boat. Obviously, you have large and you have small. That was up 44% from the previous year. So do the math on 882 times 233,000, I think you're in hundreds of millions of dollars. So also in addition, of course, to direct employment, commercial fishing provides the resource for seafood processors. We know we have here Bornstein, we have DeYang, we have Pacific Seafood in Warrenton, we have other small producers. So the processing industry paid more than $49 million in wages in 2020. Forest and wood products, another natural resource industry. I serve as the vice chairman of the Clatsop Forestry Economic Development Committee. This is a presentation we did to the Clatsop County Commission in December, and also to the COLPAC, Columbia Pacific Economic Development District Board last month. Just to recap here, some high level, 1,315 forest sector jobs in Clatsop County, 6% of our total employment. The average wage in the sector is $70,599. Historically, almost 30% of our county base, economic base is tied to the sector. This breaks down the forest ownership, large private at 56%, state and other public 26%, small private at 17%. What didn't I say? Federal. The federal government, again, you look at the richness of our forests here in Clatsop County, and the federal number of acres is just a handful of acres. Is it East County, Lindsay? Yeah, in East County. And I also want to mention that we, of course, are very actively engaged with our Clatsop County Job and Career Fair, CEDR. I'll talk about that on a future slide. And also, they've participated in Hampton as a member of the Clatsop Works internship program. They were a founder, actually. This is a very interesting chart. This shows the Oregon counties with the greatest forest sector wage difference. This is 2019 data. And if you look here, so I commented on the forest wood products industry of $71,000. Clatsop County's average annual wage is in that kind of aqua color that I mentioned already. It's about $40,000. If you look at the forest products, it's over $70,000, as I already stated. That's an 85% differential between our average and the forest wood products, showing the in higher rate and the wages in that very, very important sector. This is hard to read. I'll just mention that from the state of Oregon Department of Forestry, land, the harvest that you hear a lot about and read a lot about, and there's a lot of conversation going on right now about future harvest and where we're at. But I just wanted this snapshot in time here. This is Oregon Department of Forestry revenue that comes back to Clatsop County, comes back to us. This is on a 1-year, 13-month ad. It's November 2020 to November 2021. $23 million came back to our county. $23 million. This is for 1 year, or 13 months, right? Let's see what I think. Yeah, 13 months. And the breakdown again, when you get your copy, but take a look. Just to give some high level here. The schools $5 million. We have Clatsop County, $2.8 million, rural law, $1.1 million, Clatsop Community College, $1.5 million. The different schools, including Jewel gets $5 million because of where they're located, but all the schools, I bet Sunset Empire Transportation District, etc., $23 million, so that's a big deal. We'll talk about, and again, it's just we work to deliver, the SBDC, Clatsop Works, and Cedar. We're very results-oriented, private sector upbringing, etc. for all of us. And just the priorities, it's going to high level, and just quickly go through here. Cedar 2022 priorities, addressing the labor shortage in our region. President Chris Breitmeyer and I and Cabinet and many others were working on, with the college, with opportunities on the Future Ready Oregon funding that has been passed through Governor Brown's office and the legislature to add programs or sustain programs and strengthen programs that we have here at Clatsop Community College. So that's very important. Addressing the labor shortage, that's again workforce training. We work with Colpac, the governor's office, Enterprise Zone. I continue to serve as the Enterprise Zone manager for Clatsop County. I've had several major projects the last few years. We're very hopeful that the High Maritime, the 1,500-ton electric lift project that many of us have been giving testimony on, writing letters of support on, will be approved, and that we'll be able to be working with them on that, and WCT Marine on that very exciting project at North Ton Point this year. CEDS, that's a comprehensive economic development strategy. That's high level for working with the city of Astoria. Mayor Jones sits on the Colpac board as the city manager, Brett Estes, and that is a strategy-driven plan for regional economic development with all 5 counties, all 5 cities in Clatsop County. Childcare, we know that childcare, housing, and workforce are the big 3, and homelessness, houselessness. But on the I serve on the Child Care Advisory Committee for Clatsop County. We have a lot of great individuals. We have Dan Gaffney, who is helping to spearhead this, Commissioner Courtney Banks, and Mark Quila, and we have Joan Darby McLean from the city of Astoria, many of us, and we're working to try to find a solution to this very, very complex issue. We made progress. I also want to acknowledge that Jessica Newhall is conducting, she's doing workshops for a 3-county region that she's doing on over 6 Monday nights. Thank you, Jessica. And just to help our existing child care facilities learn more how to be business people. So that's more to come on that. We have a half-day work session on May 23rd with our advisory committee in South County. We're hosting it in Seaside to update our results, review challenges, and set next steps. Livability Forum. Cedar worked a partner with the city of Astoria with the Astoria-Warrenton Chamber. ADHDA had a forum at the Liberty Theater last month with between 400 and 500 people in attendance. A lot of conversation about livability, houselessness, etc. Felt it was very, very productive, and Cedar funded the facilitator that came in and led that with us. We also had David Reed led and facilitated, and I assisted along with Jessamine West, the local showroom for the business community afterwards, just getting the business community input and proposed solutions. So when we're working on county-wide solutions, a couple of the quick things. We have the Clatsop County Job and Career Fair is back. It's May the 11th. If you've not registered, please do. We're up to about 55 employers. You can see me about how to register, etc. Is Debbie Newton here? I don't think I heard her introduce herself. But anyway, or Lindsay Davis, we can be giving you the information on that. And we have all of our county high schools. We have all five county high schools, all juniors and seniors. We have Nacelle and Owako High School, all juniors and seniors. We have in the afternoon class of community college students and the general public. It's a big deal. It's at the fairgrounds. It's free for employers. We're expecting between 700 and 900 people to come. So we need volunteers, by the way, day of. So we're having a planning meeting later this week. And then the Cedar Annual Awards, that's our countywide awards event. That'll be held on Thursday, May the 26th. This morning, it's been communicated in other publications, but this morning we also sent out our entire listserv, an announcement about nominations. Please nominate a business. This is to celebrate you, the business community, and you're all invited May 26th, coming up to Hilton Patriot Hall from 5:30 to 7:30. We're working with individuals and businesses for sponsorships, and please nominate. And we have a very special award that we are announcing this year. It's the Skip Hockey Community Service Award to honor Skip. So we're very excited about that. And some other quick things, just Clatsop County, working with Clatsop County, their strategic plan is on the slides here. There are 5 focus areas: governance, infrastructure, environmental quality, social services, and economic development. We're the lead organization working on that with the county. The Port of Astoria, the waterfront master plan, working with the city of Astoria, just great work that's been done between the Port of Astoria and the city and the partners. That great opportunity for economic development down the road here. And Meg mentioned about housing, been sitting through and working with the city of Astoria on the housing amendments, the zone amendments she's talked about. We really need more housing here. We have to really be open-minded about that here in Astoria and countywide. And we need to be part of the change here, everybody. This is very, very important. I mean, I can't stress that enough. So, now almost done here. How am I doing time? I'm looking as I'm talking about. Okay. What time is it, David? Oh, perfect. Okay, got plenty. Okay, well, let me keep looking. Okay, Clatsop Works. So Clatsop Works, we are in year 5 of our paid internship program, and it's come so far. We've been doing this, and thank you to the employers, many of you out there that have posted in student interns over the summers. It is a paid program. I'm going to have Misty Bateman talk a little bit about the program, and also we're recruiting students. She can talk about where we're at with that, but I'll turn over to her and ask Jessica to talk a little bit about SBDC next, and I'll turn it over to Eric. So Misty, why don't you just share some updates?
Yes, I came prepared with some numbers because I realized that when Kevin is scheduled to speak, I am somehow also speaking. For those of you unaware, Clatsop Works partners with local businesses and organizations to provide paid internships to students who are 16 and older in Clatsop County. So we're really excited for the internship program this summer. We have 24 employers on board for this summer, which is twice as many as we've ever had. And we have 54 internship positions, which is nearly 3 times as many as we have ever had. So that gives so much more opportunity in different career areas to the students, so it's really exciting. Now we do the students. So I have been to all the high schools in Clatsop County, and Astoria and Warrenton High School have been so amazing to let me come into the classrooms and give a presentation to all their juniors and all their seniors. The high schools have been really great. We have 17 students who are registered right now. They have a deadline of May 15th. The majority of those students are in North County, Astoria and Warrenton, so we do hope to see some students from the other high schools as well, but we also want more Astoria students. So if you know any families with students 16 and older, just make sure you tell them about this great opportunity, because there are so many really exciting internship positions this summer for them to apply for.
Thank you, Misty. So again, students can apply until May the 15th. If you're an employer, the interview process has started. So we're not waiting. We know that it's a very important time for our students and for our businesses. And just to mention also, some of the past employers that we've had, the interns have stayed with them after the summer. We get kind of, well, they can make more money working just in a summer job. Well, maybe if you look at a finite part of that, but we have professional development opportunities. This is career exploration. and many of our interns continue on with their employer like Clatsop County, for example. So next, our Small Business Development Center. Again, the SBDC, we are one of 20 centers in the state of Oregon. I say 20, we used to have 19, and there's a new center in Columbia County. Very, very excited to have our neighbor have an SBDC center. But anyway, this is a recap of our performance of our center in 2021. So we served 254 clients. It shows the advising hours and the contact and prep hours. The amount of work that Jessica and all of our team does is amazing here. We have 44 jobs that were created and 122 jobs that were retained. You look at new business starts at 14, and by the way, you look at those numbers, and that's a very high number when you compare us with the other centers throughout the state of Oregon, even the urban centers. We have also training events, 36 events with 1,200 attendees. That was number 2 in the state of Oregon. We were number 1 the year before, but could be number 2. And in size, out of the 20 centers, I think we ranked probably about 15th or 16th compared to the community college population, etc. So again, just very top performers here. And when you look at the amount of the different dots here, women that we have served, women-owned businesses, minority business, Hispanic, etc. And then a sales increase quote. And this has to be verified by our clients. They sign off on this. I know some of you have done this over the years with us. Thank you. And so these are impacts that we report to the Small Business Administration and Business Oregon, who are our main funders, along with Clatsop Community College. So these are confirmed, verified numbers. And Jessica's just going to share a few quick updates, and we'll turn over to Eric then.
Hi everyone, it's great to be here. Thanks for all the support for the Small Business Development Center over the last couple years, especially Jack, who was a great partner with our organization as we worked through the PPP loans and other funding sources for the pandemic assistance that happened. Also, thanks to the Chamber for all of their collaboration with the Small Business Development Center as we try to build a more resilient economy here. Small business employment is actually one of the largest sectors within our county, and even larger right now. We've seen with the workforce situation, part of what's happening is the great exodus of people into small businesses. And so Jack, I'm sure, is very busy. We're very busy at the Small Business Development Center. As a result, we try and do a lot of one-to-many type activities, which means we try and be as efficient with our time and resources as possible, and that's part of the reason why during the pandemic, and we continue to offer a monthly free workshop to our small business community. This is something that's unique across the small business development centers here in Oregon, that we offer these free resources. So I have a couple flyers here, and I'm going to ask for your help. One of the things that we've done this year is we've launched a new Spanish language workshop series. We're really trying to deepen our reach and support for the Latino business community, and we're having a harder time getting the word out. It's a non-traditional form of communication that we have to go about, and so I brought some flyers here. They're both in English and Spanish, so if there is an opportunity that you know of or speak to, or just know somebody in the Spanish-speaking business community, please help us share these valuable resources. We have some great workshops coming up in Spanish that are done live in person, and we'd love to help get more registration. Everything from creating the menu that sells for the restaurant industry to how to access capital, all sorts of things, how to start a business. So I have some flyers here. Also, next month's free webcast is on improving profitability within the food service. So if you know a restaurant business or somebody who's in food service that needs to understand how costs are impacting their business, we all have seen double-digit inflation in food prices, as well as the cost of labor going up, and so the profitability of restaurants and people in the food business is getting squeezed pretty significantly. So please help share the information that we have with the small business community. It's free and it's designed to help improve our economy. So thank you all for your support, and I'm excited about the future ahead in the next year. Thanks.
Thank you, Jessica. And to reinforce with the Latino Business Open House, this is something that's new, and like Jessica said, we're a little difficult to get the word out, but we really hope to have a full house at the event on May the 12th in South County. So now I'm going to introduce Eric Knoder. Eric Knoder is Oregon Employment Department. He works for the Research and Economic Research Division. I have worked with Eric for many years. I know of you have asked him for updates and projects and things. So pleased that he's able to join us today. So Eric, why don't you go ahead and take it away, and then I will move forward your slides as you talk through them. Hello there.
Hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you just fine.
Great. Yeah, sorry for not being there in person. Kevin, let's go ahead and jump to that first slide on total employment, and we'll take a look at the statewide picture.
Alan, oh, perfect. There we go.
And,
yep.
And one thing I want folks to know is that total employment in the state of Oregon is actually now higher than it was before the pandemic recession. And so you might have the feeling that the payrolls aren't back to where they were, and that's true. So the payroll employment, those folks who get a paycheck working for somebody else, is still down about almost 19,000 jobs. But what we've seen is a huge increase in self-employment, and that would include gig workers. So when we throw them into the mix, the total employment is now much higher than it was before the pandemic. And we think that same story is true in Clatsop County. Clatsop County's total employment is higher than it was right before the pandemic hit. Unfortunately, we don't have breakouts to show specifically that self-employment that component is up, but it's likely that it is. That's what accounts for the higher employment, total employment in Clatsop County, even though Clatsop County's payroll employment is still down a little bit. Let's go to the next slide where we talk about unemployment, which is probably also of interest to employers who are trying to find people. And the number of unemployed people statewide and in Clatsop County is back down to about where it was in 2017, 2018, which, if you will remember, that was still a pretty tight job market those years. 2019, right before the pandemic hit, was just a really unusually tight job market. But we consider 2017, 2018 to essentially be the full employment level, and things got even tighter there for about a year. But that's about where we are again, and the number of unemployed people who are receiving benefits, receiving an unemployment insurance check, is actually lower this year in March of 2022. That's the most recent data that we've got than it was 2 years ago, just before the pandemic hit. So most people who want a job are out already working, and so that's why employers are having such a tough time finding people. One little myth that came up during the recovery from the pandemic recession, if we go to the next slide, is that there was this huge and unprecedented increase in people resigning their jobs. Well, if you measure it from the bottom of the pandemic recession, yes, we can see that we had a huge increase in the rate of people. This is the percentage of people who quit their job each month in Oregon. And so sure, from the bottom of the recession to the tight labor market we've got now, we've had a big increase. At this rate of about 3% where we are now, happens every time we get a tight job market. That happened in the 2018 era, right before the pandemic recession, and back when we had a good, strong economy right before the Great Recession, we also hit about a 3%. And so, yes, more people are quitting their jobs now, but it's not something that's really unprecedented. It's just a sign of a tight, full employment labor market. And let's jump down to the next slide. Wanted to switch topics a little bit and look at one reason our labor market is tight, and it's because Oregon is so dependent on in-migration. Just the natural increase is the number of births we have in excess of the number of deaths statewide. In many rural counties, Clatsop County, Tillamook, and so forth, it's not uncommon to have more deaths than births in any given year. Statewide, when we throw in the metro areas, we're still eking out a few more births than deaths and have some natural increase. But in-migration has dropped in 2020, 2019 in the state, and so that's added to the tight labor market. Oregon really relies on people moving into our state, and we get a lot of people moving in who are in their prime working years, young adults. Let's jump to the next one, and this is the Office of Economic Analysis, the people who bring you the kicker when it happens. They do a forecast, and they're forecasting that we will return to pre-pandemic job levels by 2020, the end of 2022. This is payroll jobs. We're already recovered on total employment, but they're expecting that the payroll jobs will also recover by the end of this year. That's their forecast. We make longer term forecasts. If we could jump to the next slide, bar chart. And this is the forecast, our long-term 10-year forecast for the Northwest region. So we don't make one for just single counties, unfortunately. So this is Benton, Clatsop, Columbia, Lincoln, and Tillamook counties combined. But Clatsop certainly has its share on that. We're forecasting a lot more growth, but again, we have to remember that this forecast had a base year of 2020, and Kevin already showed you what happened to the economy in Clatsop County in 2020. It was down quite a bit. So much of our growth will be recovery from the recession, and in fact, we've already added region-wise more than 7,000 jobs. But as he mentioned, leisure and hospitality is the big employing industry in the region. And that's, of course, where most of our growth is going to come from. Private educational and health services and trade, which includes the all-important retail trade. These are the biggest ones that we've got. Local government is made, of course, mostly of local education, and this is simply a recovery of a lot of our school education coming back. So those big industries that Kevin was showing you, that's where most of the jobs are going to come from over the next 10 years as well. Federal government, some of you may be glad to see, just we're not forecasting any growth at all in that. That's largely the post office in rural counties. Kevin, let's go to the next one and we'll take a look at one thing that might surprise people, and that is how much of employment is due to replacement openings. This is people who retire or switch occupations. And so this is really important for folks that are interested in training, such as community colleges. We're going to have, like I said, about 16,000 more jobs in the region, but 117,000 jobs will come from replacement openings, people retiring or switching careers. Service jobs are, of course, a big part of that. And you can look on down through the other types of occupations, professional and sales and so forth. And it's the replacement openings that drive that. So you might see, there's little in the way of occupations and production jobs, say for manufacturing or something like. And that's true, it's not gonna grow, but by a small amount, maybe around 500 jobs on the production. But still, look at the number of replacement openings, more than 6,000 jobs will come open. So there's still a lot of opportunity for people who want to go into almost any occupation simply due to the number of retirements that are going to happen. And I want to take a look at the next slide where we're talking about all of the occupations. And this is, again, related to the type of industry we have. Fast food and counter workers is going to be, the biggest single thing. Education, instruction, and library workers is totally driven by Oregon State University. Clatsop can kind of ignore that. And then cashiers, retail, sales, waiters and waitresses, and so forth, all reflecting a leisure and hospitality and retail sales importance in the local economies along the coast, especially. And these are the advantages. They don't require a lot of advanced education. Unfortunately, they also tend to be kind of lower paying occupations. But let's take a look at the next slide, Kevin, where we can really look at what community colleges can offer. And I've filtered these occupations for ones that require post-secondary training or an associate's degree. And I just want to show you there's just a lot of opportunity for a community college to offer certificates and training and associate's degrees. And these jobs, one, still have a lot of openings, some of them getting up close to the 2,000 mark over 10 years. That's an average of 200 jobs a year for the region. And they pay better too. This is the great thing about getting an education is when you start getting educational requirements that increase, the pay tends to go up. Home health aides, where you get the CNA certificate, teaching assistants, and the training required for supervisors, which is management training, is one overlooked thing quite often in training for people. There's a lot of occupations where getting a little bit of management training is your leg to advancement, and this up to supervisory level positions. And heavy tractor and truck drivers is another big one that's receiving a lot of attention right now. So there are a lot of opportunities to get some continuing education and get a better occupation that pays a little bit more in Clatsop County. And my last slide is just some contact information, if you want to throw that out. If anybody needs more information, we do customized analysis. And we have a lot of this data on our website, and I'm more than happy to give people a tour of it over the telephone, where we can look up any information you might need. Thanks very much. Any questions? I'll take them now.
And Eric, also looking at our time here, we've had a pretty comprehensive presentation today. So I think what we'll do is I'll stay afterwards to answer any questions any individuals have. And then also, if you can stay on, or I'll call you on the cell as questions that pertain to you. I want to keep things moving here. But thank you so much, and I'll turn it back over.
Sounds great.
Thank you so much, Eric.
Thank you, Eric. This was a wonderful presentation. We really appreciate you being here and having access to this wonderful programs that you provide. It just makes Astoria a great place to be. So we're glad that you're here. I also want to thank Monty Tech for working through our technical support issues and being here to support us. Also want to thank TLC for supporting our coffee with our breakfast with coffee. As you can tell, we've had a long weekend with Crab Fest, so we're having a hard time putting our words together today. So, so I'm going to go take a nap later this afternoon like I did yesterday, and we're going to get back to the work that we have. But first, I want to give out a few prizes.